But there's something brewing in the National Football League that you should know about. Look, the NFL, over the past couple of years, has been trying to find different ways to generate revenue. And one of the things they had to do was they had to first pay off the concussion lawsuit. And from people I've talked to, it's one of the things that started the whole discussion about expansion back into the LA market. And there's now actually been 3 teams that will move. Now, why does that matter? Well, look, if you're the owners, and the owners thought the concussion lawsuit would cost them $2 billion, it's going to cost them about $1 billion total. If you're the owners, you're like, look, some of these guys haven't been NFL owners for that long, let alone when all these guys were suffering concussions and being thrown back out there. They don't want to pay any money for this. There's no insurance that covers it. They got to foot the bill collectively, all 32 teams. So what's the best way to do so? Well, when you move teams around, there's what's called a relocation fee. It's like $750 million. Do the math on what 3 teams moving is. You know, that's over $2.25 billion in relocation fees. And it gets put into a pool. What do you think they're doing with that money? Well, some of it they're using for themselves and for the league, but some of it they're and to upkeep of their facilities and their stadiums, etc. That whatever they have to pay, they're paying off. But the big thing is they're paying off the lawsuit with it. So now, how do we continue to generate more revenue? Well, they started the Thursday night package. Then they split the Thursday night package into 2. Then they consolidated the Thursday night package, all while keeping the NFL network afloat, and gave it to Fox for more money. Even though the ratings didn't determine it should be worth more money, they still got more out of it. They play more games in England. They're going to play a game in China. They played games in Mexico City. Not only do these games generate revenue in terms of the stadiums while taking away from the revenue from these teams' home stadiums, but it also oftentimes gives you a different TV window, which they can make more money doing. But at some point, you get tapped out. At some point, there's just no more we can do with what we got. There's a limit in this market. That's why they're talking about a team in London. Because a team in London, or whether you move Jacksonville to, that would again create a new TV window. And you don't even have to have a new team. But players want more money. Players want guaranteed money. Guaranteed money means more money because these guys are going to get hurt. And even though it's covered by insurance, the insurance is costly. The game is more physical. It's hard to keep players healthy. And yet, everybody wants more. How do you get there? More regular season games. Maybe another playoff game. And the way you know we're working that way is that Roger Goodell has floated earlier this week the idea of, 4 preseason games is too much. 2 is more ideal. And I told you yesterday, and I'll tell it to you blue in the face, it may sound like Rod's just being a good guy. Too many games. Too much contact. Not great, not great for us to pay. Like, do you really think he's going to go to these cities who have helped build these beautiful stadiums and go, hey, here's the thing. Not only am I taking away a regular season game and sending it to London where you get nothing, or your bars get nothing, your parking gets nothing, all your vendors get nothing, but I'm also going to take away a preseason game. No, it's bad business. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take away a preseason game. Nobody cares about your regular season game. 18 games. Makes sense. We can push back the Super Bowl. We can have the double bye. More is, in fact, more. More revenue, more money. Everybody's happy. Well, there is an issue there that is the underlying issue to why 16 is kind of a magic number. This is Tony Dungy earlier today on Pro Football Talk.
I think it would be a mistake. I think one of the things that's great about the NFL now is every game matters. You've got these tight races. 16 games is a lot. You want to get into the playoffs. You want people to be ready to play in meaningful games in January. I'm watching the NBA playoffs now. And you see the effect of this long season.
Yes.
Kawhi Leonard limping up and down the floor.
Right.
Kevin Durant out.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson maybe out. That's not what people want to see in the playoffs.
You're right.
I have to think, we would get some of the same thing if you add more games. And I don't think it would be good for the players. I don't think it'd be good for the product.
I tend to agree with him. I don't know if the Kawhi Leonard comparison, considering Kawhi missed all those games with load management, is the parallel. The easiest one to point to is the NFL. Look at the teams who have quarterbacks that are injured and how they do in terms of the playoff race. Usually very poorly. And the more games means the more exposure. In addition to which, you already have a run of older quarterbacks who start to fade down the stretch. You might not have the right personnel on the field late in the playoffs. And if you don't, the Raiders didn't a couple years ago without Derek Carr. I know the Eagles won a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, but that's the exception, not the rule. You want the stars playing when it matters most. It's one of the reasons I believe you got to cap it where we are in college football. More games, you're going to lose more players. There's just the attrition of a football season. But the reason we're talking about 18 games is the same reason that Roger Goodell is talking about eliminating 2 preseason games. It all works together. And the way Raj is going to sell it, and the NFL owners are going to sell it is, hey, look, we're going to add more players to your everyday roster. We add 5 spots, that's 160 jobs. And while the union heads may say, no, we want guarantee money, we want this, they go like, okay, go back to your union, tell 160 of your members that pay dues, that are out of work, that they can't get an NFL job because you want guaranteed contracts, which is going to be more expensive, and it's going to keep us from hiring 160 new workers. It's all negotiation. Because the NFL is kind of tapped out of in terms of their ability to go and squeeze money out of everybody for now. And also keep in mind that more regular season games means redone TV contracts, redone apparel contracts, redone deals. And with every deal that gets done, it's not like the owners get to keep all of that revenue. There's a revenue split. So go back to your players and go, hey, we don't want bigger contracts. We don't want 160 more guys hired because we want guaranteed contracts and we want to stay at 16. Oh, you want to do away with the marijuana policy? Fine. We'll do away with marijuana policy, which in truth, they don't test you for weed during the season if you simply pass the 1 recreational drug test before the season. We'll do away with that. What we want is 18 games.